Hey, Coach.
What's up, man?
Big news today with the Jordan brand announcement. What does that do for your program, particularly with recruiting?
Well, I think being affiliated with Nike and Michael Jordan and Jordan Brand and as a basketball program can only help you. I think we all in our sport we understand the power behind the brand, but more importantly, I would say the popularity with the kids. To answer your question in recruiting, the popularity of the brand, um, especially the Jumpman brand, as well as the affiliation with Nike itself. The popularity of that within our sport of basketball is undeniable. So that being said, my statement is we're very appreciative, obviously, of their belief, UCLA and in particular men's basketball, and what we can do to help promote their brand and make it a great deal for both partners in this, us as well as Jordan Brand.
Beth, go ahead.
Hey, Mick, just give us an update on Johnny's status and, how close he is to being able to get in there.
He practiced a lot today, and he's extremely close. Hopefully he's going to be able to get in Wednesday night.
Tarek?
Sorry, that was going to be my question. Sorry.
That's all right.
I was going to ask the same thing. I'm good.
Rick, go ahead.
Hi, Mick. Good to see you, buddy.
You too,
talk to me about your start against Cal. It kind of propelled the whole game. From my eyesight, it was the best complete game you've played all year. How do you get that to that level when coming out of the gate with that type of consistency? And I have one other question. Will there ever be a time where Jalen Hill and Cody Riley are going to be on the court together?
To answer your second question, sure. From a matchup standpoint, depending on who you're playing against, matchup wise, from a size power standpoint, we may need to have them in there for defense and rebounding if we're going up against a big team. But I wish I had the secret potion all coaches do to start the game and be up 32-13. If you could bottle that every night out, you'd love to do it. But, the real answer for us, the telling statistics are deflections. We had 18 in the first half. It's a direct reflection of how hard you are playing. It takes effort to get a piece of the ball, whether it's you deflect a pass, you recover the loose ball, you block a shot. First half, we got 18 deflections, and we took 2 charges off defensive rotations. So the answer for us to play well, anybody to play well, is to really bring the intensity to the things that you can control, your defensive effort. And I think that set the tone for us to get off to our start the way we did.
Tracy, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Want to go back to recruiting a little. Would you say now being part of the Nike family, it kind of opens you up a bit to maybe being part of the club? I mean, it gets you, with so many AAU teams being Nike and the EYBL, does it get you just a little advantage now that you're Nike affiliated?
Well, I think that's a better question for the kids. I don't know who was in here before me and what you asked them. I know a couple of them mentioned to me that before my arrival that there were players that didn't come to UCLA that they were friends with. This is from the players because of the shoe affiliation. I don't know how much of that is real and how much of it is myth and legend, Trace. I do know that, that what I said earlier, popularity of the brand is real. When you start talking, when you ask kids what they want for Christmas, and if when it's coming, or what they want from the shoe standpoint, right now my daughter's asking me for Air Force Ones. My stepson Carson's asking me for 2 pair of Jordans. He doesn't want. He's got 2 separate ones picked out already. So, that's just the way it is. It's undeniable popularity of the brand. And I've been there before, guys. When I was with Coach Huggins at Cincinnati, we were the first brand Jordan school. in the late 90s. If you remember the block uniforms with the blocks down the side, Kenyon Martin, Melvin Levitt, Ruben Patterson, Bobby Brannon, and those guys. I was a young assistant with a full head of hair. And it factored in Trace. I think that definitely, it helped us create our image back then. And wearing the Jordan logo. So, I'm appreciative, extremely appreciative from everybody in Portland. And what I was alluding to earlier, and that you're on the West Coast, the headquarters for the other major shoe companies are either in Europe or on the East Coast. Nike's worldwide headquarters is on the West Coast. So the brand is extremely powerful, but even more so on the West Coast.
Sam, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. So outside of the brand and the shoes, apparel itself, obviously your UCLA and Michael Jordan are now affiliated. Some of the guys earlier were talking about they grew up watching tape on Jordan. What is it like to kind of be associated with who's pretty much considered the greatest of all time at the NBA level?
Well, it's awesome for UCLA. I mean, this deal for us, I mean, I didn't know that UCLA had never been with Nike, period. But from a basketball standpoint, obviously you're talking to somebody my age. Jordans to my daughter, you might as well say Tommy Hilfiger. Like that it's not even a real person. He's transcended that. But, to somebody like myself, and you're talking about a guy, that's my era. When he was making jumpers at North Carolina, I was in the backyard trying to shoot exactly like he was, when I was 12 years old. So, the argument is, for me, is as far as, guy I watched growing, I got to see the big fella Kareem at the end of his career. But he still stepped it up and got that one title with the great game in the Boston Garden after he had the rough night. But, I watched Michael Jordan's my era because of my time. So I think it's awesome. Just in every way, shape, or form, it's awesome for us. Every possible way, whether it's Tracy talking about recruiting, branding, affiliation with Michael Jordan, affiliation with Nike, just all of it for UCLA, to me, is just a great day for us.
Tukni, go ahead.
Coach, you mentioned it, Johnny, if he does come in on Wednesday, do you anticipate having like a minute restriction on him or anything like that? And secondly, unrelated to that, you've had Jalen Hill for 2 games now. How do you think just having him and a guy of his skill set and kind of tenacity helps open things up for you guys, whether on offense or defense?
Well, I think his size and athleticism impact the game. He's quick off the floor. He can switch on to guards. He can block shots. He is a very unselfish offensive player. I'm trying to really work with him on being a scorer and improving his one-on-one offense. But it's undoubtedly, there's just no. It's to the naked eye, it's obvious, right? I mean, when he checks in the game, the athletic impact he has for us. Secondly, when we don't have him, we become a much smaller team, much less athletic team, and then we got guys playing out of position. So it's a snowball effect for us not having Jalen. It's tremendous when we do, but it puts a lot of pressure on us when we don't have him. But I think he's. I said this the other day. As he matures, then his game is going to continue to grow, and he matures, and you watch, he's a fun-loving guy, but as he grows up and starts to develop more responsibility with the basketball and just matures, he's got a huge ceiling as a player.
Final couple questions here for Coach. Rick, go ahead.
What kind of basketball team is San Diego? What do you have to do to
they haven't played, Rick.
No, but you've looked at them.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we watch them. They've been scouting us for 3 weeks probably because they knew they were going to, since their quarantine, they knew this was their first game back.
Wow.
All we've got to go on is their film from last year. So, I think that they pretty much a man-to-man team. They got some size. You know, the one thing about, I would say, is Rick, San Diego, and be it a lot of the teams out here, versus on the West Coast, you know, there's really not low majors. So, like, you're either playing Pac-12 or high-level opponents like San Diego State, or you're playing, like, really good, you know, like mid-major programs. Like, when you look at them, they're like, they have size. I mean, they're like, you're not just going to jump over them and get layup after layup. So they have legitimate size across the front line. They have big, strong guy down low. You know, they got some guys can shoot the ball. So they got 3 or 4 transfers too, Rick. So like like we're kind of guessing. You know, usually you go into the game and you tell your team it's December. We know who they're going to start. You know, we're trying to figure out who to put in their lineup as we're, you know, trying to go through the scout with them. So, you know, that's a bit of a challenge. But on the flip side, they haven't had a chance to play yet. So, you know, welcome to COVID basketball, right?
All right, final 2 for Coach here. Tracy, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Cody said that he had not gotten like any scout on San Diego yet, that you all had just been emphasizing your own defense up to this point. Is that pretty standard, or is there something like against Cal that you saw that you really wanted to overemphasize defense this week?
Well, we were off yesterday. So, you know, we try to – I'm a big believer in being – you know, we're detailed with our scouting. So the guys stay in the hotel tonight, and Coach Palmer is a lead at it, and he'll take them through all that. We had just taken them through their personnel, but we've gone through all their offense. So we've done all that. But what we try to spend since we're off yesterday, we always come back and worry about us. So this morning's film and practice is on what we need to do to improve. We show them things we did well in the last game, things we need to improve on. I'm just a big believer in you got to teach and spend most of your time on yourself, not all your time on your opponents. But we start introducing them today a little bit at the end, and then, you know, we'll have game day practice tomorrow. They got film tonight, scouting report tonight.
All right, final question for Coach Tukney. Go ahead.
Coach, I just want to go back to the possible minute restriction on Johnny. Did you have an idea about whether that would be the case if you were to play?
Yeah, I don't have a real answer for that one. You know, where I come from, you're either hurt or you're not. So I don't know. That one, is that a West Coast one took me? I'm kidding around. You know, I just, you know, I'm not sure. So they'll tell me. When it comes to injuries, I stay out of it. And they tell me if a guy can play, if he can't play. If they tell me he has a minute, you know, I'm a common sense guy. So guys coming off of not playing for a long time, I don't care what the doctors tell me. I'm not going to overplay the guy. He's had a couple good hard practices. He feels great, but let's be realistic. He's only had a couple good hard practices. He hasn't had 5 or 6 of them. So I don't think it's realistic that he could play a whole bunch anyway.